Hi, everybody. It is episode 546 of PodQuest.
Hey.
That's the number of issues when they rewrote Spider-Man's history.
How about that?
Which time?
It's reboot the Long Quest history.
So like the main time, like when they did Brand New Day and like they undid his marriage, they undid him showing his identity, like all that stuff was issue 546.
Interesting.
Yep, it was just post Civil War because Aunt May got shot because Peter, unmasked himself and a bunch of bad guys were out to get him. It did lead to one of the coldest fucking Spider-Man moments. Right after she gets shot, there's like a little mini series called Back in Black where, he spirals a little bit, puts on the black suit, finds out that Kingpin was the one that hired the sniper that inadvertently shot Aunt May, which led him to break into the prison that the Kingpin was currently being held in, free all of the inmates so that they could watch as he takes off the mask and everything. Because I think Kingpin says something like Spider-Man doesn't kill people, and he's like, yeah, well, Peter Parker doesn't have that whole thing, and just proceeds to beat him in front of every inmate in the prison, and then tells him that if his name ever crosses Kingpin's lips again, he'll come back there and fill his lungs with web and watch him suffocate to death.
Yeah.
And then just leaves him there like a bloody mess. Because like Kingpin thinks he's tough, and like against normal people he is. But everyone always forgets, like, Spider-Man pulls all of his punches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he actually swings at somebody, he kills them.
Yeah.
Even Doc Ock found that out when Doc Ock took over his body. Like, he punched somebody and, like, not hard and, like, almost killed them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, yeah. Spider-Man. It's fun. How you guys doing?
I'm doing.
I didn't introduce anybody. I'm Chris Druten.
Hello.
Walnut.
Yeah, I'm here.
It's Wednesday. It's January 29th. It's the year of our Lord 2025.
Oh, yes.
I wonder why that's always what they said. Like, was there ever a year not of our Lord?
BC.
I mean, technically that would be... I don't know. Technically that's wrong because our Lord is God and not Jesus. And so it's always been the year of the Lord because the Lord and God has always been around according to creationism.
But Christianity didn't exist until Jesus.
No. I guess.
It literally couldn't.
Everyone was a Jew before that.
True.
Or, I mean, not everybody, but everybody that, like, believed in that particular deity.
Yeah.
Religion's weird, guys.
So, you want to know the best thing that I seen in the news today? PETA petitions to replace Punxsutawney Phil with a weather reveal vegan cake on Groundhog Day. Instead of pulling Phil out of his hole, let's just have a cake that we cut and make this insanely stupid day even dumber because it makes 0 sense anyway.
The only surprising part of that is that they haven't done this every single year for the last 70 years or whatever.
Yeah. Look, I'll admit I was in high school when I realized this. Somebody brought it up. But again, Groundhog Day doesn't matter. It's 6 weeks of winter, 6 more weeks of winter, or 6 weeks until spring. So it's the same thing either way. Like,
no, that's not.
Yeah, that's if he sees his shadow, he runs back into his hidey hole, which makes it 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see his shadow, he stays out, and it's 6 weeks until spring. Either way, it's 6 weeks of winter.
I thought it was supposed to be like an earlier.
No, it's always 6 weeks until or 6 weeks up.
No, so it's. If he sees his shadow, it retreats to its dead, and winter will go on for 6 more weeks. If it does not see its shadow, spring will arrive early.
But it's usually 6 weeks, is what it is.
I mean, spring does arrive actually in 6 weeks from then. But
exactly, the spring solstice, or not solstice, the vernal equinox.
Right. It's not. I mean, it's not supposed to say that. Like the time that we have the exact 12 hours of sunlight and nighttime is going to change. It's that like the weather will be warmer earlier, quote unquote, supposedly,
but it's still like
it'll be always spring year earlier, but
it's still 6 weeks of 6 weeks until. It's the same time frame.
Yes, but it's like, it's similar to how, like, at least in this area of the U.S., I don't know if other areas do it this way, where, like, Memorial Day is the start of summer, but summer doesn't start for 6 more weeks after Memorial Day.
So I looked it up. Like, the actual wording of it does not. It only says 6 more weeks. It does not say anything about it being 6 weeks until spring. So, like, you're right, Rich. Like, spring is just 6 weeks from then. Like, always. Like, that's when the like actual spring happens. But the way it's worded is such that, like, oh, if he doesn't see a shadow, spring will come sooner than 6 weeks.
And also, there's no fucking shadow. There's always a shadow because there's a million fucking cameras taking his picture when he pulls him out of the fucking hole. Like, he doesn't even actually get to naturally come out of his hidey hole. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No, there's also, like, a bunch of other places that also do this whole thing. I was just looking at Wikipedia. There's some place that just uses a fucking like a taxidermy groundhog.
That doesn't surprise me.
I guess I'd have to look into the origins of Groundhog Day. That just makes no sense to me, though, anymore.
It's a Pennsylvania Dutch thing, so, like, it has roots in Germany.
Yeah. But that's just, I was like, oh, wow. They want us to, instead of, like, bringing out a cuddly groundhog, or they just want us to cut a cake as a gender reveal party or some shit like that.
I mean, look, everything else is fucking stupid around here. Let's just lean into it.
The conservatives would not let that happen. They would not let those liberal cucks use a vegan cake for Groundhog Day. They would need fireworks and guns to figure out how long is left until.
I mean, they might do that too.
Right.
Who knows?
They are already doing it.
But anyway, Rich, what's on the agenda?
On the agenda, I after 25 hours, I've made it through Chapter 1 of Ghost of Tsushima. Cobb, you started playing Dragon Age Veilguard, which is their most recent one, and 911 Lone Star, a show that I watch, and I'll explain about it more. Its finale is next week, and this past week's episode ended with Austin potentially getting hit with an asteroid. They jumped the shark, the biggest shark ever. Like, Community didn't even get to do that.
Yet. There's still time.
But Lone Star did it first.
I mean, somebody always does it first. There's just still time, is what I'm saying.
Well, actually, I'm pretty sure Simpsons did an asteroid episode. They did. They did do an asteroid episode. Bart kept it because it burned up and turned into a little rock that landed right next to it.
Yeah, because I think Bart's actually the one that found it. Because it was, he had...
They were on a trip
punishment.
Or something.
No, he had detention with Skinner or something like that, and that was part of, like, the whole thing was that he had to go, like, look at the stars with them early in the morning, and he did, like, the stupid thing of, like, he just spun the telescope when Skinner wasn't looking and, like, found the asteroid.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah. But we're gonna talk about that show in general, but we're gonna talk about how they're jumping the shark, and it's ridiculous.
Nice. Well, why don't you start things off with whatever the hell Ghost of Tsushima is?
You know what the hell Ghost of Tsushima is?
I have no idea what it is.
How the fuck do you not know what Ghost of Tsushima is? It was like the biggest game on PS4.
No one
was it a PS5? No,
I'm pretty sure it was a PS5.
PS5 exclusive. It's like the biggest game that was released on PS5. Of the 5 games that were released on PS5.
That's Spider-Man 2, The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, it's
Dragon Age, Veilguard. Right?
Walnut?
Concord.
Sucker Punch made it?
Yes. No, it was a PS4 game.
Oh, it did come out on PS4? Okay.
It's 2020. Came out in 2020.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
July.
It and Last of Us were both those, like, tail end games.
Yeah.
They were supposed to come out closer together, and both games got delayed a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So it is Assassin's Creed meets Samurais, basically. Is it Sucker Punch? Yeah, it's a Sucker Punch. So it's a stealth action RPG game, stealth action mostly, not really RPG, where you are a samurai in feudal Japan on the island of Tsushima that gets attacked by the Mongols. And Kutakan, I believe, is who the main villain is. And it's just basically working on liberating Tsushima Island from the Khans, from the Mongols. And it's a huge open world game, of course, because that's what like every game is. And there's tons of things to do, tons of collectibles and spots on the map to explore. And it's incredibly beautiful. And the combat style is fantastic. The combat's so fun, to the point where I find it a little bit more fun than doing stealth. So I actually tend to just go in running gunning rather than doing the stealth.
Does the game try and like steer you towards like doing things stealthy, or is it actually just whatever you feel like doing?
It's mostly whatever you feel like doing, but there are some objectives where stealth is a little bit more beneficial because it's like you got to defend from these people from being killed, and so the best way to do that is to be stealthy. Because if you're not stealthy, then you have to defend them, and it'll give you icons when they're going to be attacked, so you know who to attack to stop them. But for the most part, it kind of pushes you more to be stealth. So the whole point of the game is you're a samurai. You are one of 84. I believe it was 84 samurais that were brought together to stop the invasion of the Mongol army. And the Mongol army is in the thousands. And samurais fight with honor, fight with dignity. They challenge the person in front of them and stuff like that. And so the first thing you see is one of the samurais go down, is like, give me your most powerful warrior. And they just didn't give two shits about being honorable and getting into that one-on-one fight. And they all just ganged up on him. And then that's when all hell breaks loose, and every samurai but you and your uncle are killed. Your uncle gets taken captive. You get healed by somebody who rescues you, who ends up being like a thief and like somebody who's like a little less savory in society. And she trains you or talks you into like being a little bit less honorable with your kills. And so it's like a lot of the struggle back and forth of whether or not he not likes doing what he's doing, but whether or not he feels good with the way he's killing people, especially in the stealth kills, because that is dishonorable. You're sneaking up on them, you're backstabbing them, you're not facing them face to face. There's no honor in what you do. And so you just the whole like, and I doubt there's any sort of like a karma meter or anything in the background that might influence your story or influence your gameplay or your end sequence or anything. But you just have to decide like what kind of a samurai are you going to be? What kind of a person are you going to be? You do what you need to do to win this war and free your people, but you are dishonoring your family, your bloodline, and your honors and your values by being a stealthy ninja type person. And so it's that little give and take. And it's like, for me, I'm like, sometimes I do feel bad doing these stealth kills because that is against his character, but he knows he has to do it. And that's a theme throughout the game is, I did what I had to do. I'm sorry. I know it was not honorable, but I did what I had to do to get here and to get to you and to rescue you and to help our people. And it's a very interesting like tug of war back and forth with that kind of story. And as you continue forward, you meet more and more and more people that are like, there are peasants and countrymen that just honor you. And like, they know you as the Ghost, somebody who is like, who's killing all of the Mongols single-handedly from the shadows. And then you meet like, you rescue your uncle, and your uncle's like, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to fight like samurai. But it's like, you kind of have to do that. The map is huge. I said, it's
totally open, right?
And completely, well, yeah, open to an extent of, it's based on region. So first chapter is the first third of the island. Second chapter is a third of the island, or the second third of the island, and the third chapter is the third of the island. So it's like open for the most part. Once you reach some story beats and unlock all the different little things you can do, you can go do it all. There are no towers, which is nice, but like, it also makes it a little bit harder to figure out where POIs are, because there's no like, climb the tower, uncover this part of the region. But what it does have is you can liberate areas of each region. So the first third of the island had 25 places you can liberate. As you liberate each place, it actually opens up a part of the map for you. Otherwise, you can put on the traveler's clothes and just run. And it unlocks, like, it clears the fog on the map more if you're wearing the traveler's clothes. I didn't find this out until 25 hours into the game.
That's fucking rough.
That if you... No, the traveler's thing I knew, but I didn't find out until 25 hours into the game that if you liberate the entire region, the map opens up for you. So I spent a lot of time like, all right, I have a quest at the very top of the map, and this entire coastline is fogged up, let's just go from the very top of the map after that quest all the way to the very bottom of the map. Instead of like going straight for or maybe looking up locations of like the camps to liberate. I would just run around sometimes. Be like, all right, this little L shape right here, that is open or that is fogged up. Let me run that to see if there's anything there. And then it was at 25. Once I got all 25 areas in the first region liberated, the map opens up and there's like 3 or 4 question marks that I still see. I'm like, had I known this, maybe I'd have like 5 hours less gameplay or something like that. Because
that's a rough one too. Like,
but it's also the game is beautiful, and like as you're running through the lands, you're running into bandits or Mongols that are standing there that you can just like, I'm gonna pop out, I'm gonna have a quick fight, unscripted fight that if I defeat them, I get some supplies, I get a little bit of experience, and I can keep going. Great, it's fun, and like I said, the combat's really fun. It's not FromSoft difficult. It's a little tough, but it's not like FromSoft difficult. It's more, I would honestly put it more in line of maybe a Breath of the Wild style of fighting, or I'm trying to think what else would have similar combat style. I don't know, but it is like parrying and dodging, like, and you can upgrade your character to like if you get a perfect dodge, it slows down time and you can get an immediate kill. Get a perfect parry, it slows down time, you can deal more damage with a counterattack, and it's really good combat. Like a lot of the fights I get into, especially because I'm kind of overpowered after unlocking everything that I could in the first region, I'm killing a lot of these enemies in like 1 or 2 hits because it's just like my sword's upgraded enough and I have the additional attack power with all the different fighting styles, because each type of enemy is weaker to a different type of fighting style when it comes to breaking their stagger meter. So if you're fighting against brutes, you want to have the brute fighting style. If you're fighting against polearms, you want to have the polearm fighting style. I can't remember the actual names of those styles, but it's fun and it's very beautiful. And the side quests really build on the story, make them interesting. They're interesting,
worthwhile to do them.
Yeah, they're not tedious. They're not annoying. They're unique. The liberation stuff is like, all right, this can be a little bit much, but for the most part, you don't really have to protect anyone in those. So if you just want to just run and gun and go in there, one of my favorite tactics is to get a bunch of enemies near me, throw a smoke bomb, and that blinds everyone and makes them lose you in the middle of the smoke bomb, to where you can then chain assassinate like up to 4 enemies in that instant right there. And so it's like, all right, well, I can go up, I can do a standoff, which has 1 enemy come up to you, and I have upgraded to where I can kill up to 3 enemies in a standoff, and then run in, have as many enemies as I can close into me, throw a smoke bomb, chain assassinate 4, run away, and then do some stealth killing after that or something like that. It's not too difficult of a game. It's just, it is very big. It's very broad, and when you have that, like for me, that push of like, oh, I gotta open up the whole map. I gotta know what I'm missing, and I gotta do all the icons on the map. It does get a little intimidating at times. I was like, it took me 25 hours to clear the first chapter of the game. 25 hours.
But had you not spent all that time running back and forth across the map, maybe it would have only been 23 hours.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it'd probably been like 20 to 22, 23 hours. Like, I doubt it was 5 hours of running around the map, but still, like, if they gave me the locations of all the camps to liberate, that would be a little bit easier. But, I mean, now that I know that, just liberating is what you want to do to unlock the map, I'm going to just, right at this point, I'm in the second region, and I just have quests lined up all over. Quests from characters I've met throughout the game that are continuations from the first region to this region, and running into new people and learning legends of the island. That's like, all right, I can just run left and right on the island and get all of these quests done. While I'm doing these quests, I can also liberate some of these regions. Hopefully, like region 1 had 25 areas to liberate. Region 2 has 17, and region 3 is 15. So it's much smaller, which is nice. It's like, all right, this isn't going to take as long to do these next 2 regions. Plus, all the quest lines that I could have unlocked have been unlocked at this point. I don't think that so everything, it seems to be on the map already, and I'm not like slowly finding a new person here and there. I know where everything is.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a really good game. I'm shocked you have no idea what this game is.
I was kidding.
No, you weren't. You had no idea what it was.
I mean, look, I know that it exists as a game, but I mean, beyond that, like I did actually know very little about it.
That blows my mind.
I didn't have any interest in it really.
Yeah, I trust me. I know this was not your kind of game, just because of the open world style.
Yeah, like I do remember seeing stuff and like it looks like they did a really good job with it, but it was one of those like I would play for like 5 hours and then be very bored and never touch it again.
I mean, you could just streamline through the story.
Well, that's the problem with a lot of like the open world games. Like they just tend to be a little too open for me. Like I want a game to tell me what to do.
You can just streamline through the story.
Does it actually like?
Yeah, it's like, hey,
like
here's
push
what
you
you
towards
have.
that stuff.
Well, it gives you the icons. Here's what you can. Here's the story beats you have to hit,
That's
and
fair.
it tells you to do those to push through the story. It's all right. If you don't do everything, you're just not going to be overpowered, or you might have a harder time in some combat. But like there are set icons for the character. Like if you just want to do the character side quests and nothing else, there are set icons for those. You don't have to run around to find. Like once you like. Some of the side characters have like 9 total side quests in their quest line. As you do it, it counts it up as 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, whatever. And like once you unlock that character, every time you do their quest, the icon of where you meet them next is on the map. You don't have to uncover it.
Oh, that's cool then.
It's just the icons for bonus stuff, for things that like you have to look for or would have to look for is there. What is what's like hidden. Well, yeah, it's like, and there's a lot of cool features. Like there's no mini map. There's little to no HUD when you're running around. The way to know if you're going the right direction is if you brush the touchpad, the wind blows in the direction you're supposed to go.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, there's no icon just set on the screen telling you where to go. So it's like the HUD is very minimal. Or if you're running around, you'll see a gold bird fly in front of you, and he's going to take you somewhere towards a POI. Or if you see in the distance circling birds in the air, like, oh, that's something over there that I gotta run to. Or if you see fire, or if you see black smoke coming out of a section, that's a location I have to go check out. Like you don't need the map, but the map will help. Because like what I would do when I was trying to just find locations to go to, I would just set a point on the other side of the map and just run towards that point and keep tracking the wind just to make sure I was running in the right direction. And then every like 100 meters or whatever, I would hit pause or I'd hit the options button, open up map just to see, hey, did I cross any POIs that I missed? Did I do them or did I miss any of them?
Nice.
Yeah, but like the story is really good. It's really fun. I got betrayed and I want to go kill this person.
You deserved it.
No, I don't. I'm trying to free our people. I don't deserve it.
Seems like you're being a little murdery, though.
Yeah. And I say murder every time I assassinate somebody while on stream. But, like, I do what I gotta to save my people. To free my island and to free my people. Gutsukan has to die. He's a dick.
Yeah, like that sounds a little murdery also.
He's a dick. He's having his people kill my people. For no reason. Except for just to take over the world or take over the island. That's it.
I'm just saying, you're not the best person either.
There was one quest that I did that made me laugh because when you go in, you have to like go into a thicket of woods and like track something down. And I've heard of plot armor before, but I've never heard of plot fog before. Because it's a bright day, and then you talk to this person, boom, fog covers you immediately. I'm like, oh, that's good. That's great. They just covered up the entire area in fog, so you can't get ahead of yourself here. Plot fog. I
love when they do that.
Yeah. And then was there something else about the game? Not really. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of plot armor of like, oh, this is nothing somebody should have survived, or I can't believe you're still around with this, and like a lot of like intervening, like a lot of Deus Ex intervention. That like it's just like this is weird. Some of this is a little weird, but it's still, you know what? It's a fun game, so I'll let it be.
I mean, that's what matters, as long as you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I like it.
How long of a game is it?
40 to 60 hours, depending on content, depending on what you do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Apparently, you could have actually completed the main story by now.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, it says main story 25 hours, main and extras 46, completionist 62.
Yeah. So I'm at about 25, so I just have the side basically, and I feel like I will have this game beat in the next 20 hours. I feel like the first region is the biggest, it's going to be the longest, there's a lot more story, and then the next two are going to be a little bit quicker. I have a feeling I should have this beat by Super Bowl Sunday, which is in 2 weeks on the 9th.
And that'll give you like a 2-week buffer before Monster Hunter, right?
Yeah, about that. Which is then my brain is like, well, what do I play between then and between beating it and then
Super Mario Brothers Special.
No.
Yeah.
No. I might just do a bunch of one-off streams. I kinda have to play Fork Knife because Godzilla's in it. Just to see if I can ever get Godzilla. I kinda want to give Marvel Rivals a try just to see if I'm into it or not. Probably won't be into it.
Oh, I thought you said that you played it too. I didn't realize it was just Drew.
No, I've just watched a lot of people play it.
Okay.
A lot of people that are Overwatch players play that game. But yeah, probably just some one-off streams. If anything, I might check and look into, because the latest, depending on when I beat Ghost, I might do what was it? Ender Magnolia, which just came out.
Is that related to Ender Lilies?
Yes.
Is it DLC or like a new game?
It's a new game. It's a
sequel.
Nice. And that just came out. I don't know how long that game is though, so I don't really want to. I don't really want to get started into it if it's going to take too long. About 20 hours.
Yeah, it says not a completionist route is about 20.
Yeah.
So if you're just kind of like playing through it, you should get it done significantly faster than that.
It would be when a game like that, it would be completionist. Completionist means all the what's it called? All the achievements. So it would really depend on what the achievements are that I have left over after beating the game, but most likely it would be completionist because I. Oh,
that's right. You're broken and have to do everything.
No, but it's a Metroidvania game, and if you get all the souls, you get the best end. You get all the endings. Like it's if it's anything like Ender Lilies, there are souls you can miss. There's things that you can miss, and you can get one ending, or you can get the other ending if you continue forward by doing everything else. And then like decisions you make, which the game will save right before the boss fight, so it wouldn't really be having to play through it multiple times. That's why completionist is so close to main story, because you can just continue to play the game after you beat it.
Yeah, it looks like it's about the same amount of time as the first one.
Yeah,
like give or take. Like the main story's a little bit longer, but completionist is only a couple hours more on average. So
yeah,
people are. But also that could be skewed just based on like Ender Lilies having been out longer, so there's just more. There's more data of people that have said they have completed it.
Yeah,
true.
But that's I might just do one-shots, or one-off streams, or just like streams of just like things I don't really care about, or really, really short games or something like that for the 2 weeks between. Or I might play some Armored Core multiplayer or something. Who knows? But I don't think I want to get started into anything hardcore for the 2 weeks before Wilds. But yeah, I see myself beating this game by Super Bowl Sunday. Probably, honestly, maybe not though, because I won't be playing it on Super Bowl Sunday because I do my football stream on Super Bowl Sunday. So I'll be playing something else on Super Bowl Sunday. So maybe like if I can beat it early, that'd be like before then, but I like sometime around then, which still might give me a week. Who knows? Might just take a couple days off before Wilds comes out.
There you go, because that's going to eat up all your time for at least a few months.
Yeah. It's gonna at least a month where I'm playing nothing but that. At least a month. And then after that point, I might move that to weekly or like every other day or something, like every other stream with playing something else in the middle, or bring back Metroidvania Mondays and do Ender Magnolia every Monday, do Monster Hunter every other day, and then Sea of Thieves on Thursdays like always. We'll see what happens. Who knows?
Nice. Anything else you want to say about Ghost of Tsushima before we move along?
No, the game's good. Who knows? Maybe I'll beat it this week and I'll be able to talk about it next week. Probably not.
I guess we'll find out. If not, we'll hear from you in a couple weeks about it.
Yeah.
But I started playing Dragon Age the Veilguard. I keep calling it just Veilguard. Apparently it is the Veilguard.
It is the Veilguard. No one says the Veilguard.
No. Most people just say Dragon Age.
Well, yeah, for the most part. But...
So I don't have much of a history with this franchise. I've tried to play the first one a few times, and it was just... I always liked it, but fell off for no particular reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I could not get into Inquisition. Inquisition was one of those, the game was too open. Like, you get through, like, the tutorial, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, just go do whatever the fuck you want. There's no real path here. In one of those, like, kind of detrimental ways, because it doesn't tell you anything. If you go in the wrong direction, you're just suddenly confronted by things that are way too strong for you.
Which is crazy, because the first one, Origins, was more linear.
Yeah.
And then, what was the second one?
Dragon Age 2.
Yeah, just Dragon Age 2 was incredibly linear.
Yeah.
And then Inquisition is just like, oh, here it's just do whatever. And like we need more like linear games or like level-based games.
Or at least structure-based games. Like give some sort of like structure to it.
Yeah, because there was still a lot of decent side quests and side things to do in Origins and in Dragon Age 2.
Yeah.
Like, they still gave you the choice of where to go and what to do. It's just, it was all in, you had your home base, and then you would go out and you would do a thing. Like, level-based games. Like, we need more of that where it's like, not platformy, level-based RPGs.
Yeah. Yeah, and... like you said, like I remember the first Dragon Age was very much like that. Inquisition was also the one that like a lot of people, they liked it, but their biggest complaint was the first like main area that you're in is so big and there's so many side quests to do that by the time people move on from there, they're significantly over leveled for the rest of the game. Like to the point where like the game is less fun if you spend your time doing all of the content in that first section. So far, the Veilguard actually is it's more akin to the originals. It's got like a hub world thing going on, or at least that's what it seems to be so far. Like they could obviously change it at some point. But after your kind of introductory mission, where they're showing you combat and movement and everything around the world, you have like a confrontation with a character from Inquisition, because this game is like 10 or 20 years after Inquisition in a different part of the world. So I imagine there'll be a little bit of overlap, kind of like there has been in past games, but it won't be anything crazy. And you have a confrontation with that character, and then you end up in like the world between, essentially, that kind of lets you port to different parts of the real world, kind of as the game needs you to. Which is nice because it gives you kind of like a little like home base to go back to where you can like, I'm assuming at some point I'll have the ability to go back to like old zones if I need to like explore a little bit more, level up more if I've gotten new abilities, like, because so far like in like the little bit of exploration I've done, like there's definitely like some paths that look like maybe they're further paths, but could also just dead end and not be anything. But it's been cool so far. Much like all the Dragon Ages seem to be, like, you start the game as, like, just a kind of a person doing their thing. Your player character in this one is, like, a former-ish member of, like, one of, like, the 6 organizations. The Grey Wardens are one of them. I don't know if the rest of them are from other Dragon Ages or not. But you're kind of, like, you were a member of them. I can't tell if you got kicked out or just, like, sidelined and ended up in, like, a different group where you got tasked with going to stop Solus is his name from Inquisition from like doing something bad. And it turns out his bad thing was like bad, but also maybe not like totally meant to be the worst. This is all part of, like I said, like the prologue intro. So he's opening like a portal to destroy something that's going to cost the lives of like thousands of people in like the city that he's doing it in. But he's doing it to like reinforce the prison of like these ancient elven gods that are apparently way worse if they get free. And you going in there and stopping him from doing it actually lets two of the gods free and traps Solus in this dimension. So now you're kind of left up to the, like, should we have just let him kill 1,000 people? Or, like, is he just full of shit and actually these guys aren't going to be that bad? And that's kind of like where it's at now. And so far, like, I'm seeing that whatever he was doing and whatever, like, these, like, gods that were released have done have sort of, like, fucked with the world. They're doing that thing where they're creating, like, fake limitations on the world to kind of constrain you to, like, certain areas. So rather than like Inquisition or like Ghost of Tsushima, it being just one big open world, you're going into like a zone and then you're entering like, I forget the name for it, but it's basically like a magic bubble. And the first time you walk into one, a character comes running up to you and you're like, hey, so about that thing you just walked through, it's one way. So now that you've come in here, we can't leave. And you then have to like spend time like finding the source of what's creating the bubble in that area to go stop it as like different demon enemies pop up and attack you. The combat, I actually don't remember what the combat was like in like the old Dragon Ages. Was it like
it has changed across all three Dragon Ages. Literally. So Dragon Age Origins, it was turn-based.
That's what I thought.
Dragon Age 2, it was action with the ability to do turn-based. Dragon Age 3, I never played Inquisition, so I don't know.
It's all action-y. Like, you have 3... In Inquisition, I want to say you had, like, 3 abilities you can have assigned and for each character, and you could swap characters on the fly.
That sounds familiar. This one seems to be kind of somewhere in the middle. So the starting class I went with was Rogue, because it gives you, like, the close range and... ranged with like a bow, and so the combat is very like action RPG. Like there's a light attack, a heavy attack, a block, and a dodge, and then you get some like special abilities. Only one is unlocked right now, but it's a like hold the right bumper or R1 button depending on like what you're playing on, and it'll bring up like the menu for those things, and you activate them that way. And it does pause the game while you're doing that, so it's not one of those like bring up that menu while there's still a bunch of shit happening. You actually have a little bit of time to stop and think before things go terribly, terribly wrong. And that's also the menu you bring up if you want to have your party members do something. It does, at least at this point, I can't switch to a party member, so I can't control them directly. They kind of like in the more recent, what was it, Final Fantasy 15, where like your party was there, but you could just kind of give them ideas of stuff to do. You couldn't really control them.
Yeah.
Similar to that. But at least like when you bring up that menu, you can have them do like their special moves, which at least both of the characters that I'm using most both have damage dealing attacks and healing. So if I'm in a bad place, they're there to heal me, because I haven't quite gotten dodge and block down. Because like the enemies will do like a lot of these enemies so far have ranged attacks. And they'll get that, like, line on you where, like, you know they're getting ready to attack. But I haven't quite gotten it down to, like, when the right time to move out of the way is. So, like, I end up getting hit by them while I'm also trying to, like, aim at them. But I'll get there. Trying to think what else is really going on in there. Yeah, combat very action-y so far. Story seems interesting. I know, Rich, you were saying that, like, Ghost of Tsushima is very pretty. Dragon Age is not. Like, it probably looks a little bit better if I were playing like on like the PC or something. I'm playing on the Steam Deck, which like most games usually look okay on there. It looks pretty rough, but it's not like, oh, this is unplayably bad looking. It's just
Dragon Age has never had the most pretty graphics.
I feel like Dragon Age and what's their other one? The space one. What the fuck is that game? Mass Effect. I feel like both of them, like the older ones, like they looked good for the platforms they were on. But like Mass Effect Andromeda did not look particularly good in my opinion. And yeah, I don't like this game doesn't. It's not like the worst, but it also doesn't look like anything special.
Yeah, like I don't think so. Dragon Age 2, that was PS3. Or was that PS4?
That was 3 because it was like 09 and 2011, I think, were those two
Yeah.
games.
Which, like, and that was when the PlayStation got hacked, is when that came out. That one, I don't think it had like very like standout graphics. I think it was just generic. And to me, when it comes to Inquisition, graphically, it felt fairly generic. Like, it wasn't great, it wasn't amazing, it wasn't standout or anything like that. It was what you expect in gaming, kind of thing.
Yeah,
And I feel like with Veilguard, from what I've seen, which I've only seen a little bit of it, it maybe leaned a little bit more cartoony and a little bit less like a little. It seems like maybe they went a little bit more to be unique, and it didn't. Not that it didn't help, not that it looks bad. It just doesn't really look.
It does have like a cartoony vibe to like especially the character models, like the character. And I think that's the thing, like. For like the type of like game it is in the story, like the characters just appear a little cartoony, and I feel like the NPCs more so, and like your party members that you don't control, than any of the character creator stuff. And like the game has an insane character creator. You can do basically anything you want with it. All the presets look fucking horrendous though.
Mm-hmm.
I picked a preset because I don't care about character creators, but boy, are they just all ugly characters.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's another thing. Like the super in-depth character creator, you can legitimately go in and kind of like tweak almost every aspect of the character, like head to toe. There are 4 races to pick from. So there's the elves, the humans, the dwarves, and I can never remember the other thing, but it's basically like the big hulking dude that are kind of like Dragon Age's version of like a Dragonborn or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember this from the older games, but dwarves can't do magic in Dragon Age.
Nope.
I remember like elves were like the slaves and the low class in the first one, or at least the city elves were.
Probably. I can't. It's been so long since I've played Dragon Age, and I've only seen a handful of people actually playing it on stream that I don't remember any of the lore.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure like I played the first one around the time it came out, and then I like picked it back up a couple years later and like restarted. But I think I only ever got maybe like 10 or so hours in. And then just like for one reason or another, like fell off of it. But I did not remember that dwarves couldn't do magic.
Yeah, that's the one thing I do remember specifically.
But yeah, it's been fun so far. I'm enjoying it. I'm playing on the Steam Deck, so it's easy to just kind of like pick it up while I'm just like on the couch. And like other than it not looking super great on there, like it plays very smoothly. Like I haven't had, especially with how kind of hectic some of the combat can be with like enemies popping up and your other party members running around doing stupid shit. Like I haven't had any like weird slowdowns or frame rate issues that made it like, oh, what the fuck is going on here? Which is, you know, always a benefit. Not all games will do that. And I actually don't know 100% if it's like Steam Deck verified or if it's just like, if it's got the yellow exclamation point, like it mostly works, but Valve doesn't like confirm it. But either way, it's been playing pretty well on there, and I'm curious to kind of like see how the game progresses. Also curious to see if any characters from the older games continue to show up, because I feel like that was a thing that these games did do. Like I'm pretty sure a character or two from the original showed up in Inquisition, I believe. And this game only being, you know, like a decade or so after Inquisition, I should imagine like somebody's still probably around from the first one, maybe. But yeah, that's all I got about Dragon Age. Rich.
Yeah.
I actually have no idea what 911 Lodestar is other than a show. Is it like a procedural, like 911, like paramedics, police, like what's going on?
Yeah, paramedics, police, procedural, I guess you could call it. So it is a spin-off, or I guess spin-off of 911, Rescue 911, which is a show that what's her name? And she's still on it. Hold on. Let me just make sure I have.
Wasn't Rescue 911 like a reality show in like the 90s?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but so it's not Rescue 911 anymore. It's just 911. And it had Jennifer Love Hewitt, at least in the first season. I don't know if she still is. I think she might still be in it.
What's like Angela Bassett?
Angela Bassett's in it. Yes. But it's Lone Star is a spin-off, sort of, or whatever you call it, where like none of the characters, because like none of the characters from like Lone Star 911 were in were in the original 911 series. But I guess, yeah, spin-off, similar to like CSI Miami and shit like that. Where
it looks like Jennifer Love Hewitt has been on it since season 2.
Okay. Where in 911 Lone Star 911, it stars Rob Lowe. He was a firefighter in New York. He was a firefighter during 9/11. And he was a fire captain of a station in New York. He finds out he gets diagnosed with cancer due to working in the Twin Towers on 9/11. His son is also a firefighter who is a drug addict, a recovering drug addict. The show starts out where Fire Station 126 in Austin, Texas gets the entire squad are killed in action from an explosion on dealing with a farm fire, because it's a manure farm or some shit like that, pun not intended. And it explodes and only one person survives. And so they hire Owen Strand, Rob Lowe, to come down to Austin, Texas to revitalize that fire station. Owen says he'll do it. The day before he gets offered this job, or the day before he accepts it, his son TK, who's also a firefighter, ODs, or almost ODs, and he's like, "Look, I'm gonna take this job, and you have to come with me." So he brings his son down to Texas with him, and the whole show basically starts with Owen doing a bunch of, and I know the world's hating this word right now, or this acronym, but doing a bunch of DEI hires. He hires a trans man. He hires a Muslim woman. He hires a Hispanic dreamer who has dyslexia, and then there's his son who's queer, who's gay, and then him who's just the only cis person in the not really the only white person in the show besides the one guy who survived the explosion in the first episode that was one of the original members of 126. And he just the first episode, I loved it because at one point they go and they're like, a woman calls 911 because her neighbor's grass is on fire and their neighbors are doing a pig roast underground, and she's racist because they're Hispanic. And Owen is like, I'm gonna have to take you in because we're gonna have to call the cops on you because you called a false police report, or a false report onto 911. So the woman, an older woman, starts to fake a heart attack, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm having a heart attack. I need help." And so he looks at Owen, looks at his son, and is like, "Can you give her CPR?" And she's like, "Oh, thank you, son." He's like, "I just want to let you know I am gay." And she's like, "No, what about you?" Talking to Owen, he's like, "I'm not CPR certified. I can't." And then looks at the one of the other guys, like, "What about you?" He's like, "I'm just not gonna do it." Looks over and he's like, "What about you, Marjan?" And she's like, "No, not her. What about him?" Looks at the trans man, not knowing he's trans, but he is black. She's like, "See, I'm not racist. I want him to help me." And he leans down and he's like, "I will let you know I am trans though." And she's like, "Take me to jail." And she puts her cuffs up because she's incredibly racist. And I'm like, all right, this show's gonna have silly, ridiculous things like that, and it sucks that that's probably an actual scenario. But then the show continues to jump the shark, and successfully somehow, even though it's getting canceled after 5 seasons, so I guess no longer successful.
I feel like 5 seasons for a show like that is actually still a pretty good run.
Yeah, well, 911 is going 8 or 9 seasons at this point, but it is the original, so it makes sense that it's still going. But one of the most memorable was they volcanoed.
Real quick, it jumped networks, so Fox canceled it.
Fox canceled
911, the original.
Okay,
and then ABC picked it up.
Okay.
So
so because Lone Star is still on Fox.
Yeah, probably because nobody wanted that one. ABC only wanted the one. So actually, I'm looking at the original Lone Star real quick, and the last season on Fox was the 2022-2023 season, which was season 6. And then the following seasons where it went to ABC, and they only gave it a 10-episode season, as I'm assuming well, let's see how this does for us.
Also, the writer strikes and stuff. Right?
That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. A lot of shows only had 10 to 12 episodes last season.
Yeah, and that would have been because this one it was 10 episodes from March to May. So that tracks. I forgot all about that.
Yeah. So one of the more memorable episodes, they volcanoed Austin. Remember the
Like literally
Tommy
like
Lee
a
Jones?
volcano.
Remember the Tommy Lee Jones volcano movie?
Yeah, good. Literally called volcano.
Yes. There was a volcano underground in Austin, Texas, and there was lava for some reason, an erupting volcano under Austin, Texas was one of and it's like when they have these major disasters, it takes place over multiple levels or not levels, multiple episodes, and so they will this is one of the parts that made me kind of hate the show. And why I kept watching it, I don't know. It's because it was only one season left, so I was just like, I'm just going to finish it. But like, they would show somebody calling 911 as the cold open for the episode, and the woman. This is the volcano episode. The woman is calling 911, and she's like, "Yeah, there are my. I was doing food truck prep. I was doing prep in my food truck, and all of a sudden, there's hundreds of thousands of scorpions just infesting my truck now, and I can't get out." And then it cuts off there, and it says the next scene after the intro credits and the commercial, 26 hours prior or whatever, 24 hours prior. And then that whole episode has nothing to do with the fucking scorpions. And then it leads
That's really funny.
It leads into, like, at the very end of the episode, the start of the volcano. And then halfway through the next episode is when you get that call about the scorpions. And it's like, oh, they went into the food truck because they were running from fucking lava in Austin, Texas.
As you do.
As you do. As there's known to have. I think this was the year after Texas had that major snowstorm. There was, this following season, they did, 6 episodes of the snowstorm, where Owen was near the border of Texas and ended up fighting ICE agents helping border crossers.
Jesus.
It made no sense. Marjan, who was the Muslim woman, watched a cop murder somebody out of nowhere. It's just it constantly jumped the shark and made things more and more ridiculous. At one point, one of the main characters gets struck by lightning. A little kid shoots TK, Owen's son, because he thought it was a home invader. TK almost dies 3 times throughout the course of this series.
As will happen.
Yeah. He doesn't even, he almost dies once. Well, I guess technically twice. I think it was twice in total. No, 3 times if you count the first time. Like the very first episode when he almost ODs. He almost dies 3 times. The first time was OD. The second time and the third time wasn't even because of the line of duty, but it was on the line of duty. The little kid shoots him because he thinks he's his somebody trying to break into his house, but he's actually TK had moved to being a paramedic now, and TK opens the door and a little kid shoots him, trying to defend his mom, which makes sense. Like the whole scenario made sense. And then the last time he hyperventilates because he's still being a paramedic, not a police officer anymore. He has to do an ice rescue during that ice episode, and he ends up going into shock and hyperventilating because of all of it, where he almost dies for 3 episodes. And he's in a hospital for 3 episodes. Owen is cancer free by the end of the second season, so that's no longer. No, I think that was the 3rd season was the ice storm. There was an entire 4 episodes about a sandstorm that hit Austin, Texas, which I don't know how often sandstorms hit Austin, Texas. I did look this up. There was 1 or 2 episodes from a tornado that hit Austin, Texas, which is very rare for a tornado to hit Austin, Texas. They happen, but incredibly rare from what I could read. And I'm trying to think what other major shark jumping things there were, but this show just continued to go overboard. And now finally, at the very end of this last episode that aired yesterday, Tuesday, the 28th, they get an announcement that an asteroid is going to is projected to land in downtown Austin, Texas in the next hour. Somehow they didn't know until an hour before, which astrologists know. There's no way astrologists didn't know. But somehow
astrologists almost certainly don't know.
but like, or astronomers, not astrologers. Astronomers, no. Look, I was watching a Reddit stories from Smosh, and they were talking about astrology at one point, and that's just what was in my head.
Yeah, man. If an astrologist managed to guess that a meteor was about to impact the city,
Yeah,
that's good on them for recognizing Venus is in union or whatever the fuck.
yeah. So it's like they get a message from their emergency broadcast on their phones. In 1 hour, an asteroid is going to breach the what's it called of Earth, and it could either breach the atmosphere, and it could either A, break apart in the atmosphere, or B, destroy all life in Austin. And there's no telling what can happen. And so they still get calls. They ended up having to go rescue Newman, or the guy who plays Newman, whatever his character's name is, from having a cardiac episode as he's loading up his bunker with Doctor Who tapes.
It's Wayne Knight's his name, just for what it's worth.
He's loading up he has a bunker, and his neighbors come over and is like, hey, can you at least save our child? Which was very weird. If you're not going to save us, save our child. And his one thing is like, you better like Doctor Who. And then he starts to have a heart attack. So they have to go rescue him. And what they do is they blow up all of their gas tanks by the side of the bunker so that they could sneak in and somebody can unlock the door, because it would have taken too long to just cut the door open. But it took them only took them 20 minutes to dig out this bunker. Makes no sense. They restart his heart and don't even bring him to the hospital. He's like, all right, I'm fine. I'm going to go have burgers with my neighbor who I just tried to say, no, I don't want to deal with you anymore. And they make it back.
All of this sounds reasonable.
It's ridiculous. They make it back to the fire.
I've heard nothing about sharks.
You know what jumping the shark is?
I'm just saying, man. Yeah, Happy Days. Fonzie jumped a shark.
Yeah, it's like the worst episode of Happy Days.
Is it though?
I think that's where the term comes from. It's like the most ridiculous.
It is where the term comes from. Yeah.
I don't know 100%. I can't remember 100% if it was the worst. But like the last 5 minutes of the episode is everyone saying like their goodbyes to their loved ones, calling them, and then bunkering down under the trucks in the firehouse to where maybe they'll survive if the meat asteroid hits Center City, Austin. The thing is, no one's going to die because they did one of their fucking prequel, or it's like one of their flash forwards at the very beginning of the goddamn episode, where Owen is in a nuclear reactor or a nuclear power plant, and it's about to melt down, and that takes place 26 hours before the events of that episode, or not 26 full hours. No, like that. Yeah, that happens 26 hours after the beginning of that episode. So I was like, all right, well, no one's dead now. So obviously this thing's gonna.
Sounds like there's a nuclear reactor about to melt too, like out of the frying pan into the fire.
The countdown got to 2 seconds, and then Owen passed out. So who knows what's going to happen?
That would be the coolest fucking way to end a series. Just here's the threat of a fucking meteor destroying the city.
Yeah.
Nope, we survived that, but then this nuclear power plant melted down.
It melts down and explodes. And we just fucking Chernobyl, Atlanta, or Austin, Texas now. Like,
and then it's brought up on the other one.
Yeah, that would be great if 911 brings this up. Like, Austin is still in shambles after the nuclear meltdown from the asteroid. I just I can't, I read an article. It's like, that it was 911 Lone Star has already spoiled their asteroid ending. And I read the article about it's hitting an asteroid, and I was like, I gotta watch this, and now I gotta talk about it on the show, because I can't believe a show actually went that, like, a show that's supposed to be based in a little bit of realism. They went with the asteroid route for the ending of the series.
It happens. It's fine.
It's ridiculous, and it's like, look, I love these stupid shows. I watched The Rookie. There's so much shark jumping in that show. There was an entire episode that was about, remember, and this is like 10 plus years ago, the alert system in Hawaii sent out those alerts that there was a missile incoming to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it ended up being fake or like a malfunction. They did a whole episode about that in LA. They did a whole episode where Frankie Muniz played a character who was like a cult leader, and they just did a whole like uh um true crime like documentary about this whole crime that his cult did. And then there's an episode where a bunch of LAPD officers, specifically one who is a fucking rookie, goes to Guatemala to rescue one of their detectives. No one bats an eye about it.
I don't know, man. That sounds like the fucking plot of Bad Boys 2.
They killed a. I know, but it's like this. No, none of this is legal. None of like, and it's just like it goes there. There's
America.
I love these stupid. For some reason I love these stupid shows. The actors are great. I love fucking what's his name who plays
Nathan
Nolan
Fillion.
in The Rookie, Nathan Fillion. I love him, and the whole rest of the cast is great. And some of the things in the show is pretty realistic, and then some other things I'm just like, this is just over the top, my guys. You got to chill out. But like, to me, this show deserves to be canceled when throwing an asteroid into fucking downtown Austin, Texas.
You know, I do wonder. So, like, when I was looking at the Wikipedia page for the series, there were crossovers with like the original 911.
Yes, there was it was a forest fire set of episodes.
So I wonder if they would have faced like similar issues to like Buffy and Angel back in the day, where I don't know if it was Buffy's last season or second to last season. One of them, though, Buffy moved to UPN and Angel stayed on WB, and they didn't really cross over anymore after that. Until like the very last episode when like Angel came on like an episode of Buffy. So I wonder if like they would have had a similar issue with them being on two different networks. Like even if they wanted to like make like reference to what happened in the main one, if they would like legally be allowed to.
Who knows? I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. I just like I don't know. The episode, the forest fire episodes was last season. It was the beginning of last season, I think.
How long have you been watching this for?
I started this year or last year, 2024. I think I started before last season ended. Like I've only just started yet, or like I might have started before last season started, or something like that. Like this final season, this cancellation season, they just took like a month off, so it's there for like they took 2 to 3 weeks off over the past couple of weeks during the break or so during the holiday break, and so they're wrapping it up next week. But it's a shortened season this season. But yeah, I only just started. Like Rookie, I have been watching. I think I'm now like the 4th season that I'm watching it as it's airing at this point. But yeah, Lone Star 911. It was like because I had watched all of The Rookie, I was looking for something else to watch and something else ridiculous. And I see clips of these shows on like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and I'm like, that scenario is great. I want to see what else the rest of the show is. Like there is a scene in 911 where a woman and a dude are getting it on, and he has a cardiac episode, and somehow he gets stuck inside of her while she's on top or something. I don't know the whole thing, but like the officers have to like talk her down to calm her down so she doesn't. I don't know, but it's the weirdest thing, and it's just like I kind of want to know what else this show is because of this fucking clip. How ridiculous is this show?
At least when Lone Star one ends, you can go and watch the 7 seasons of the original.
I've been thinking of watching the original. Putting that on. Hulu keeps yelling at me to watch it, but it started me like midway through last season. I'm like, I don't want to watch midway through last season. I want to watch.
Does it have all the seasons on there?
Probably. I would think so. Because
I was actually curious because if it moved between platforms. Or between
But ABC and Fox are owned by Disney.
Oh, true. You know what? I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, and Hulu is owned by Disney, so it's gonna be. It's most likely going to be on there.
Yeah, it's just Hulu does that stupid thing too, where it defaults to the latest season whenever you go to a series. So I just looked too, and it defaulted me to season 8 instead of season 1.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many times like I was watching like whatever show that was the most recent episode, and it went to try to show me something from season 7 of 911. I'm like, no, I need to watch season 1.
Or just start in season 7.
No. If I'm gonna watch that show, I'm gonna start on season 1.
Yeah. So watch all of season 7, then go back and watch season 2. Then jump ahead, watch season 5. Then go back to season 1 and watch all the rest of them in order.
If anything, I'm gonna watch all of season 8 until I'm weekly, and then watch and then watch everything before it. But as the weekly episodes come out, I'm gonna watch that weekly episode.
Have you ever watched 24?
I did as a kid. Not all seasons. I remember the season specifically that Edgar died was one of the seasons I was watching. It was like midway through that season. And then the next season they had, it was after Jack Bauer was kidnapped and brought to China, I guess. And they like made a deal to get him back.
I love that show. It's so stupid.
Yeah, but they needed to find briefcase nukes in like downtown San Diego or some shit like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was L.A. and I believe that was season 6.
Yeah, and I watched a bit of that season, or that might have been the season where he gets kidnapped, and then it was the season after that I didn't watch. Like at the end of that season, he gets kidnapped and they bring him to, and then they have to make a deal to get him back out of China or something. And then it was just that season after was just weird, and I couldn't get into it. But no, I haven't stuck. I never stuck with it or went back to watch it all, but I did watch some of it.
Season 6 is the one Jack is released from Chinese prison and then works with CTU to take down Suitcase Nuke's armed terrorists.
Okay.
And if I remember correctly, so that one got super delayed because it was the writer's strike year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next season was, that season wasn't like, that season aired, but then the next one got super delayed. And that was the one where like he faked his death before it, and there was like a whole season like where he was in like the Congo, or not a season, I'm sorry, like a made-for-TV movie where he was in the Congo, like hiding out from fucking the American and Chinese and Russian governments.
Yeah, there was. I think there was one season. I remember they tried to bring it back, but they dropped the whole 24-hour marker. So it wasn't. I don't remember.
Yes and no. So there was 24 Live Another Day. I have the Wikipedia open. That one was 2014, so it was like 4 or 5 years after the initial series ended. Mm-hmm. And that one is in London, and like Jack did like fake his death again or something stupid. And it goes hourly for like the first 12 hours because it was 12 episodes. Mm-hmm. And then in the last episode, it does a 12-hour time jump to finish up the 24 hours.
Jesus Christ.
And then they did do a like a sequel series that only lasted for 12 episodes also. That was 24 Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Which I watched that one. That one was not very good. It tried.
Yeah.
But it just didn't quite work. And I think like they tried to bring back some people from the originals, and just none of it quite worked the way it should have.
I've been in the middle of watching Castle. I haven't really had like the push to go back to it to watch it in like about a month.
That show was on for fucking ever.
It's so many seasons, and like I didn't realize
and Bones. Like those two shows just seem to go on forever.
Like I didn't realize how many seasons Castle was, and that show equally is just like is as equally as ridiculous. Like I'm on season 4. And there's 8 seasons, and it's 23 episodes each season. Like, I didn't realize how long that series was.
Yeah. So it looks like Castle was 8 seasons. It ran from 2009 to 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Bones was actually like 15 seasons.
Yeah. I haven't watched Bones.
No, 12. Bones was 12 seasons. It ran from 2005 to 2017, which is fucking insane.
That's wild that that show went that long. But
Dude, you know who's had a hell of a fucking like lucky break? The dude, David Boreanaz. Dude went from like Buffy and Angel to Bones to a show where he's a Navy SEAL. Like he has not had a point where he wasn't on like a network television series since like 1996.
I mean, you can kind of make the same argument with Nathan Fillion. Like,
yeah, that's true. Because I think
he had Firefly and then Castle, and then pretty much immediately after Castle, he had Rookie. Like maybe a year, if not less, between Castle and Rookie.
Yeah, I think there was actually a bigger gap between Castle and Firefly.
Yeah, there's a decent gap between Castle and Firefly, but he was always on stuff, and he's constantly guest starring on things. Like he was on Modern Family for a couple of episodes as a recurring character.
So it looks like Firefly was 2002, and then Castle started in 2009. So that was actually a pretty big jump. But he was just doing other stuff like
he was
in between.
Because there was also Serenity, the movie that he did, and then he did which probably didn't make him a lot of money, but Dr. Horrible sing-along vlog.
Right. And then, you're right. He was on 7 episodes of Modern Family. And then, but Castle ended in 2016, and The Rookie started in 2018. So he had 2 years where he wasn't like actively on stuff, but he was doing other things.
And honestly, he probably booked The Rookie in like late 2016 and had to get into shape for it. For filming in 2017, like he was probably already had it casted. He'd already been casted in The Rookie by the time Castle ended, for sure. He
was cast in October of 2017.
Okay,
so like not long after Castle would have wrapped up.
Yeah,
man. Some of these guys, like they get lucky. Like they're good. They're good at what they're like the roles that they're being asked to play, and like one show ends at just the right time for another one to pick up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to say about Lone Star 911?
No, I'll let you guys know how the asteroid hitting Austin, Texas is next week.
I'm more interested in the nuclear power plant meltdown.
I'll let you know about it next week. We'll do a follow-up next week.
Thank you.
Hopefully this doesn't last 5 episodes like the other tragedies have.
I hope it does. I hope the entire rest of the series is just... It goes on Dragon Ball Z time. It takes 4 episodes for the meteor to actually hit, and then the last 4 episodes are the nuclear meltdown.
No, I think the finale is next week. So.
Oh wow, really? After such a long break?
Well, I mean, it was 3. They would have been 3 episodes from the end of the break, but it's a shorter season because it's a cancellation season. Shorter season because last season was shorter because of
Oh yeah, Monday is the last episode, February 3rd.
Yeah, so
yeah, it'll next week it's over, so we will know what happened.
I will let you know about the meltdown and if Owen Strand actually gets to return to New York or not, because he just took the job to become police chief of New York or fire chief of New York.
I was gonna say, man, what a career swap.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he became police chief, like, of New York. Or, like, maybe New York has a new spot for him and it's general of public affairs or some shit like that. Where, like, that's how ridiculous that show gets. Like, I'm not even kidding. That's how ridiculous that show gets.
Well, I think that will probably do it for this week.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a quick question. Question. It's not a long one. I posed this on my Blue Sky. Say somebody who likes to do weekly movie marathons was thinking of doing the Alien series. Would he have to also include the Predator series in that?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I'm thinking too.
It only makes sense because, like at a certain point you start running into the Alien versus Predator movies.
Yeah.
So like having at least Predator 2 and arguably like you don't need the one from like 2008 or whatever it was.
No.
The one with Adrian Brody, the really shitty one.
Yeah. But like there is some crossover with the Predator series. So I might have to watch the Predator series. Yeah.
And like those first 2 Predator movies are fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just that the Adrian Brody one was like a bad one. But like most of the other ones are at least like they're stupid but they're fun. Like both Alien vs Predators, real bad movies, but not like bad in a way where like you're miserable watching them, just bad because they're fucking bad.
Yeah. And I've not watched most of the Alien movies, including the modern ones. So I was just like, what if I do that? Because that was one thing about the X-Men marathon that really kind of bored me is like, I've watched all of these before. So like, what if I get into something that I haven't watched all of?
Yeah. And like, that just like the X-Men marathon, there are varying degrees of quality in those movies. Yeah. And I'd actually be curious to see like where you land on them. Like, have you ever seen the original Alien?
Bits and pieces.
Like, I feel like that one you're not gonna love.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it's very slow and nothing really happens.
Yeah.
I think Alien 2 you'll probably be more into,
mm-hmm.
and 3 and Resurrection are the two that people generally don't love.
Resurrection is the only one I have memory of ever actually seeing. That and AVP, and I've seen the first Predator movie as well as Prey, the one that we watched.
Yeah.
And AVP. So, like, I've seen more Predator than Alien, but I know, like, AVP, the worlds collide. Like, they are a connected universe, in a sense.
Yeah, in both of them. I mean, that's why they're called Alien vs. Predator.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you do have, then, what is it? Prometheus, and then I forget what the 2 after that were called.
I can't remember what the new one's called. I don't know.
Like Alien Covenant or something like that?
Yeah, I'd have to see if they're even available to watch online. Like, where I can watch them all.
Let's look real quick. We have a few minutes. Alien, 1979. Alien is on Peacock.
Okay, so most of the rest of them are.
Aliens is on Peacock. Just the Alien vs. Predator. So Alien vs. Predator would be a rental, it looks like. Alien vs. Predator Requiem, right? That's what that one was called.
Yeah, there was a sequel. And then it was Covenant and Romulus, which were Prometheus, Covenant, and Romulus.
And I'm sorry, the first Alien vs. Predator is actually on Peacock also. The sequel is the rental. Alien 3? Alien 3 appears to be a rental. Resurrection, also a rental. Romulus is new enough. Romulus is on Hulu. Prometheus?
Apparently there's a Predator. Apparently there's a Predator movie coming out this year.
Isn't it supposed to be a sequel to Prey?
I don't know if some mainline series Predator mainline scheduled a theatrical release in November 7th, 2025. I don't have anything about it on the wiki.
Fuck is The Predator from 2018? Never heard of this one. So there was also apparently a 2018 Predator movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it looks like
according to it's set between the events of Predator 2 and Predators.
Okay. I think Predators, is that the really bad? Yeah, Predators is the one from 2010 that was not very good.
Yeah, that's the one where they're on like an alien planet or something like that. But I mean, I'd probably still, if I'm gonna watch it, I'd probably still end up watching it. So it'd be like, so I'd have to do Alien, then Aliens, then Predator, because Predator 1 was 87, Aliens is 86, then Predator 2, which is 1990, then Alien 3, which is 92, Resurrection, which is 97, and then Predators, which is 2010. Oh, no. AVP, which is 2004. AVP Requiem, which is 07. Then Predators, which is 2010. Then Prometheus, which is 2012. Then Covenant, which is 2017. Then Predator, which is 2018. Prey, which is 2022. And then Romulus, which came out at the end of last year. And then Predator Badlands this year. I wonder if I can I could probably time it to do that right before the movie releases.
You probably could.
I mean, it's only what? 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's a lot of movies,
5,
but it's not
6,
that many.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 15 movies, including the new one. So 14 movies. So 14 weeks beforehand. 4, 8, 12. So it'd be 3 months and 2 weeks. So I'd have to start it by May or June. No, it's November. So June or July.
So this new one is set in the future.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's kind of cool after the last one being set in, like, the past.
So far in the past, yeah.
And looks like same director? Yeah, same director as Prey.
It's Dan Trachtenberg.
Yeah. Interesting. Right. Well, I think with that then.
Yeah, that's
probably
That's a show. Well, it's just a quick question. I was just curious what you guys thought about that.
I mean, I think some of the Alien movies are actually very good, so.
I remember liking Resurrection, but I was also a kid at that point.
I feel like you even actually like the Alien movie, like one of the Alien movies.
I've seen the first Alien. It is very good.
Yeah. But with that, we're done. If you want to find more of our stuff, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us at your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All of it helps. We also have social media. We're facebook.com/onequestonline. We're at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. And we're like one-quest on Blue Sky. Maybe. Might just be one word. I don't know. Just look us up. It's the same logo everywhere. You can also send us an email, social@one-quest.com. And our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo. And then, Rich, what is your streaming stuff appear.
Twitch.tv/B_walnuts for video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. More Ghost of Tsushima. As this airs, or as this comes out on the 30th of January, it will be the last session of Sea of Thieves for the Escape from Monkey Island content that they released. So we're finishing up that story. There's only three quick events or storylines that you could run. So we're finishing that up today. So you should come hang out and watch us finish the Escape from Monkey Island stuff. It was really fun stuff. I'll talk about all that next week. But yeah, that's what we got. No special events or anything like that. Come follow me. I want to reach 1,000 followers by the end of this year. Come hang out.
Nice. Well, with that said, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See yous.
Bye.